Howdy, y'all. It's Kentucky Ranger here with a little how-to as far as PS5 controller and the analog sticks go. For some reason, I don't know who the manufacturer is of these rheostats, which is what's inside these controller sticks. They have a real issue with stick drift. It's really, really a bad problem. I don't know why. And yeah, I don't understand it. The problem is these controllers are extremely expensive. I think last I checked, they're right under $70 for just your basic controller. And stick drift happens in them. It don't take very long, just a few months, and you'll either get herky-jerky motion or your character will start moving on its own without you even inputting anything. So this is just a really quick video about how to clean these effectively, saving your controller and saving you a lot of money. The key to this is this stuff right here, Deox IT D5. It's not cheap either. It's $19 on Amazon. You might be able to find it cheaper other places. I'm not real sure, but it's a good size can. It's 5 ounces. Of course, there's a controller, so you can see how the size comparison. I've had this for over a year, and because you don't need very much, but it really, really helps. So anyhow, first thing we're going to do is take this controller apart. To do that, these two little parts of this cover off. That way we can get in here and pry. And don't worry about prying it. You don't want to pry real hard and break it, but it comes unsnap fairly easy. So we got that off. Now there's 4 screws. Let me go ahead and pull these off too. These little switches, you pry them, and they'll pop out. That's the R1 and L1 buttons. Just pry them real easy, and they'll pop. Well, this one. Oh, there it goes. Take those out. You can see there's 2 screws up here. There's 2 screws down here. I'm going to be taking those out. These are Phillips head screws, so it's nothing fancy. Just a basic little Phillips head screw. This is the most or the least invasive way to do this. There's no solder. You don't have to desolder anything or cut anything. All you got to do is just gain access to those rheostats inside here. Now what you want to do is slowly start popping this. And as you pry, you'll feel it give, and you'll feel where the clips unclip. You can see this is well used. Lots of battles were fought with this controller. Oh gosh, see, even I forgot. There's 2 small little clips right here. See, that's why you don't pry real hard. I forgot about these 2 little teeny little clips here. A little pressure on this. There we go. Get that clip on focus. Get some clips out of here. There. That's pretty tight, so you want to make sure that you put a little pressure on it, because if you don't, there we go. Okay, now those came in. Now this unit, there, pop. Don't be afraid. It makes poppy noises. There's nothing you can do to stop that. Anyhow, that releases that cover. Now the battery, yeah, you do unplug the battery. Okay, so I was wrong. I lied. You got to unplug the battery, but it's keyed. It's a keyed plug. You can't plug it back in backwards or anything. Okay, now this is going to be the most invasive part of this. Is this little camera, this little microphone. You're going to have to take it out because it's going to get in the way. So grab your needle nose pliers. Grab on, there's a little black tab right in there. See if you can see it. I'm looking at the camera and I'm trying to do this all so that you guys can see it. There's a small little black tab. My eyes and my hands. This ain't what they used to be. There. Get up under that tab and pull it. And the camera and everything comes out. Or the microphone. Why do I keep saying camera? Anyhow, we'll set that aside for right now. Remember, it goes back into this little hole here. So now we have to take the battery tray out, which also releases the, let me blow some dust out of this thing. It's so dirty. It's amazing how dirty these things get. All that dust. And that's another thing that causes a lot of the stick drift problems. Okay. Get rid of this. So anyhow, the battery compartment is held in with that one little screw. So we'll take that little screw out. The really nice thing is all of these screws, they're all the same size. So you're not going to mess up thinking, oh no, I can't remember where that screw went. So you're going to take that battery compartment out, set it aside. Okay, now we're left with the circuit board. Now there's two more things that we have to unplug. And that's this little ribbon cable and this ribbon cable up here. Both of them have the little black tabs that you can grab onto. And you really need needle nose pliers or some really good tweezers. But all of these have the little black tabs to help pull these out, pull these plugs out. They're delicate. They're not extremely delicate, but they are delicate. So just remember these two are going to have to go back in when we're done. Okay, now it's very important that you hold this controller like this. And you'll see why here in just a second. Now all you got to do is, when I'm done, put pressure on the joysticks and just gently push that out until it separates. Okay, now you can see down in there, you can see the two joystick reset ports, which is, if I can point down in here, that and that. Okay, now what you want to do, like I said, you got to leave this sitting like this because you don't want this Deox IT to get all inside your controller. You just want to get it on the rheostats. So shake this stuff up real good. It gets messy, but it's not a horrible mess. You may maybe put a paper towel. I got a rubber mat here. But what you want to do is you want to aim right in the right between there. See, yeah, and just give it a good squirt. I'm pointing the wrong thing. See, oh, another thing I got to do. Let's blow the dust out of here first. Dust accumulates in there, and that's another problem that you have with this. Okay, now let's give it a good squirt on both of them. Let's push this back up in here. Okay, and then what you want to do is start working these joysticks back and forth and up and down. You want to keep this up. I tilted it back, but because anything that drains out of this, you want it to drain down to your mat or your work surface. So work these up and down, back and forth, and around and around. Okay, and I like to do this twice just to make sure, because there's no real way of telling exactly what's going on in there. But you get this cleaner in here. I keep trying to pull a trigger and it's got a button. Just get that stuff in there real good. That's all it takes, is a couple of squirts. You can see it's dripping. Just make sure you let it drip down and not up. Now we'll turn that around. Hold that circuit board, pulling the, okay, back and forth, up and down, around and around. Just keep doing that for, for a little while. Really work that cleaner in real good. Okay, and once you do that, get this tissue here. The stuff, it's greasy and weird, but it does dissipate. So now once we get that done, we want to go ahead and put the battery terminal, or not the battery tray, not yet. We still have to do this. Get these ribbon cables. And this one, it likes to hide. Yeah, that one likes to play hide and seek on me. There we go. Okay. Now we grab it by the little tab. And we gently push it back in. And we'll do the same with this. Oh, it tried to go hide too. Oh, come on. Up out of there. Get it between or the and I'm going to take the circuit board back. Shouldn't have to take the other ribbon cable out. But yeah, these ribbon cables, they're pretty robust, but they don't, they don't like to be tugged and pulled on. Now I'm going to have to do this. Unplug this one again. I'm going to take that circuit board back up. Yeah, it's the most fidgety part of this whole thing are these goofy little ribbon cables. Come out now there. There we go. We'll go back in there. Stay out here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we got them back. Okay, now let's plug these back in. And if you get a little residual stuff like on these ribbon cables, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just that that Deox IT, if it gets on like certain rubber parts, the buttons and stuff, it can play havoc with them. So it's best to keep that away from that. Let's get that down. Now we put the hold down on, oops, excuse me. Bump the camera. Okay. Now we'll put the battery tray back in, and it just sort of falls into place. I can, let me see. Yeah, see, there's a locating pin. There's one right there. There's one right there. And you see these two holes right there and right there. Well, that's where those pins pop into them little holes. That's what lines this whole thing up. And once I get that screw in here, oh, come on, don't do this. This is the longest part of some of these videos. That's why I'm cutting a lot of this. What would you call it? Screwing around. You don't need to see all of that. Okay, so now screw that back in. Tighten it good and firm, but don't muscle it. You don't need Superman strength to get that screw in. Actually, any of these screws. Okay, now the next thing is we want to put this microphone back. There's like a little locating clip right there. This thing would focus. Come on, there. So there's a little clip, and that little clip fits into this little slot. See that little slot there? It fits right in there. That's how this is located. See this? Oops. Microphone. There we go. Well, y'all can't see anything. All you see is the back of my hand. Okay, there. Fits it right in there. And I put it in upside down. There we go. Yeah, it would help if I'd put it in right side up. There we go. Okay. So now that microphone's back in, we take our needle nose. Where'd they go? Grab that little locator tab, or that helper tab, or whatever tab you want to call it. In there. Well, actually, I can probably just do this with my finger. I can get it started. There. There. Just push it in a little bit. Yeah, this is the fiddliest bit of the whole project, is these stupid little ribbon cables. But that's part of the thing there. I got it pushed in. If you don't like, if you feel more comfortable once you get it in, just take your tweezers or your needle nose and just make sure that seats in there. Okay, so that's seated in. Now the battery, like I said, this is keyed. You can see that. Focus. Menu. There we go. It's keyed. So it can only go in one way. So you're not going to mess it up. You're not going to put it in backwards because you can only put it in one way. Okay. Now that the battery's back in, we put the cover back on. That's just how easy this is. It's not that hard. The easiest way to get this back on is to start in the front, work your way back. The thing will start snapping back into place. Just make sure everything's all snapped back in where it's supposed to be. Start putting the screws back. Get in there. Okay, there's the screws. Now all we have to do is put the buttons back. Okay, now these fit right in this little key here. These little tabs fit. See the little, there we go. Those little hooks. These fit, these fit right into that little channel. And locks, they just lock right back in. Oop, just like that. There we go. Now this cover, you got to put it in where those two little ridges go up under that light, and then you just snap it down, just like that. And there you go. Now you want to go play your game or whatever you want to do, and just kind of work these, because that residual Deox IT is still in there doing its thing. So just kind of play around with these, rotate them up and down and back and forth. You really want to get it in there, like wipe the top of the ball off here, because it leaves a greasy residual stuff, but it eventually evaporates. So it's not like it's going to stay oily forever. Yeah, that's it, and that'll get you quite a few more months of playing before they start drifting and acting goofy again. When they do, you just clean them up again. Like I say, this stuff ain't cheap. $19 for a can on Amazon. I think that's the cheapest I found it. But oh, man, does it work! It really works good on controllers, rheostats, volume controls, stuff like that. That's what I used to use it on, was volume controls when I worked on audio equipment. And it does wonders for audio, and it does real wonders for controllers. So that's that. Hope you all got something out of this. Don't be afraid to try it. It's not, like I said, when you're cleaning it, make sure it's sitting up like this, because you want all that stuff to drip down. You don't want it to drip back up into like where these little buttons are at. There's little rubber separators and things, and Deox it doesn't play too well with the rubber stuff. It doesn't destroy it, but it's not good to get it all up in the places it doesn't need to be. Anyhow, God bless y'all. Appreciate you watching, and chime in if you got any do-it-yourself ideas, or if you've got a better way of doing this. Is the best way I know how to do this, and it works. So yeah, don't throw away your $70 controller. Just get you a can of that, and the initial cost will pay for itself over time, because like I said, I've had this can for several years, and I just a couple little squirts, and it's still, I'd say this can's still half full. So anyhow, God bless y'all. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for whatever else comes along on my goofy channel. See y'all later.